I am heavy weapons guy. And this is my weapon.
And now he's here to us.
Use more gun.
A red spy is in the base.
I'm a black Scottish cyclops.
Seduce me.
Yo, what's up?
It's a sound of progress, my friend.
Professionals have standards.
Alright, pause. Come on, do you guys really think this video needs an introduction? If you were a kid or teen during the 2010s, you've probably stumbled into one of these videos growing up. They're iconic. These goofy 1 to 5 minute shorts filled with personality and lots of charm. And at the time, yeah, you might have brushed them off as just some small content. Nothing else. But then you eventually find out they aren't just any cartoons, but promotional videos for a video game, Team Fortress 2, which just so happens to be free to play. So you log on to your Steam account, download the game, and hit play. It's 2025 now. Games have risen and fallen, and the gaming landscape is nothing like what it was in the early 2010s. TF2 is 17 years old, and you'd think that the game would be dead by now, just forgotten. But it's quite the opposite actually. The game's been consistently on the top player counts for Steam, and every so often you find it in memes and popular culture. How is it that an old-ass game still lives despite many of its contemporaries being left for dead ages ago? What makes TF2 special? Well, strap on your gunboats and sound of your bugles, because today we're gonna find out what makes Team Fortress 2 the shooter that will never die. We'll be touching up on 3 distinct areas that contribute to the game's overall timelessness. Its style and gameplay, which go hand in hand, and finally the community, which is debatably the reason why the game is still as loved all these years later. Great, so we're starting out with the visuals. Now, you've got to remember that back in 2007, TF2 launched facing some really heavy competition. You had games like Halo 3 and Modern Warfare 4 cementing themselves as some of the most iconic shooters of all time. But looking at them today, you notice that the visuals are disappointing. Don't get me wrong, the quality was really good at the time, but this was during the era of the browns and grays, muddy, hyper-realistic visuals that plagued shooters during the 7th generation of consoles. And during early development, TF2 was inches away from going into this path. Boring. Who would want to follow the norm when you can be different and unique? That's where the money is, actually, I hear you say. But Valve, TF2's developers, don't give gamers what they think they want, but what they need. So,
after 9 years in development,
they threw a bunch of cartoony-looking mercenaries into a 19th century desert and BAM! You've got a game that looks just as fresh and distinct today as it did back then. Looking at the game's inspirations, it's clear from the get-go that the game takes cues from 20th century Americana, both in its cartooniness and set pieces. And look at the illustrators it was based off of. Norman Rockwell and Dean Cromwell. They gave this idealized golden America that focuses on the country's ideals and stories from back then. Character-wise, J.C. Leyendecker's work was a huge inspiration to focus on prominent silhouettes that shape the core of the game's visual ideals. Make figures clear and instantly recognizable. And look no further than the mercs. From one glance, you can already notice the kinds of people they are. The scout is nimble and a bit of an annoyance. The medic's uncanny grin makes you feel like he's deranged. And the soldier? Well, nothing much is going on in his head, but we love him for that. Compare this to Call of Duty, where you have boring soldier number 10 and generic mercenary with no distinguishing features. Looking at them is not as fun as seeing this group. And the Americana art style follows suit with the set pieces. The architecture and the maps allude to early American industry. You've got mines, railways, and labs that give you this new frontier feeling. One of my favorite areas isn't even playable, the war room underneath 2 Fort. It just reminds me of Cold War intelligence rooms like those seen in Dr. Strangelove and old spy flicks. And of course, we can't talk about the visuals without bringing in our 2 favorite factions, Reliable Excavation Demolition and Builders League United. You know, I'm more of a blue guy myself, but nah, whatever, that's a topic for later. These 2 teams fighting endlessly over useless gravel pits makes it all extremely goofy. And like, you even forget for a while, but then you start thinking, who even builds their buildings using these colors? And to that I say, shut up bro, it's a game. And justifiably so. Bold colors allow our monkey brains to quickly identify friend from foe. Visuals and gameplay go hand in hand like it's bread and butter. Which, speaking of, let's talk a little bit about the gameplay, shall we? Hey, but before that, comment below what's your favorite detail in TF2 and subscribe. Thank you, bros. Oof, we've got ourselves a catch here, boys. The grandfather of team-based shooters proves to be a fan favorite even 17 years after its release. Despite the competition it faces with its children like Marvel Rivals, Overwatch 2, and Team Fortress 3. Time and time again, we still see that the game has a massive following. Why is this? Well, it's pretty simple. No, yeah, that's it. It's simple. There's only 9 classes you can play as, each of them perfectly tailored to a specific playstyle. Want to pick off enemies at a range? Sniper.
Good job, Mike.
You want in on flanking and rushing? Scout.
Yo, what's up?
How about blending in behind enemy lines?
I am the spy. No, I am the spy.
Spy's the man for you. And if you just can't help but be an overbearing asshole, Pyro. Now, compare all of that to Overwatch and Marvel. Oh my god, that's a lot of characters. And they keep adding more throughout the year? Damn, it's gotta be hard to handle all those balancing issues, the debuffs and moveset changes. TF2 found its formula right away, and it did not stray away from it. 9 is a small number, but as you play more and more of the game, finding out specific subclasses and gameplay styles, you come to mature and understand that 9's enough. 9 is perfect. In my case, this is what I like to play as, this is what I gaslight myself to like playing, because someone's gotta do it, and this is what I'd like to play as if I weren't so dogshit my teammates cyberbullying me to change class. Of course, they all have their own synergies and strengths and weaknesses to each other, like a 9-way rock, paper, scissors. Oh, and people can play in the same class, so you'll never be unable to play your favorite, but the lobby usually manages to find a good enough balance of attack, defense, and support. Usually. You've got your standard game modes like Payload, Capture Points, and King of the Hill. And to be honest, they all play pretty well, but Payload's gonna be the most engaging for me. There's just those moments when you're in overtime and either need to hold out on the cart or push it just a bit longer to get to the checkpoint. Those moments, that's what I live for, man. And don't even get me started on the creative mechanics the game incorporates. You've got the Pyro's Air Blast, Spy's Cloaking,
I do believe I'm on fire.
the Medic's Uber, and Engineer's Sentries. Couple this with the Source Engine charm and you realize that this game pioneered on all fronts. Okay, but let's head back to the personality, cause it's time to talk about the music and the voice acting. I think everyone in the community unanimously agrees that the voice actors for this game take absolutely 0 L's. The over-the-top lines with hilarious delivery just take the cake for my favorite voice acting in any video game ever. From Scout's arrogant one-liners,
Nice hustle, tons of fun. Next time, eat a salad. I am owning you, you fat, bald, fatty, fat. Think fast, chuckle nuts.
Soldiers' plain, dumb, and patriotic remarks,
Of course we won. We are Americans. If you didn't win, I would need to see your birth certificate. You call that a loss? I've crap bigger losses than that. If God had wanted you to live, he would not have created me.
the Engineer's Southern hospitality,
Nice going, partner. That there is just a sad display, boy.
Don't worry, boys. The engineer is here.
Yeah, still tinkering with that one.
to, of course, many of the voice lines which have now cemented themselves as iconic and part of TF2's identity.
Seduce me.
You.
Seduce me.
What? Spy, I ain't gonna say.
Seduce me.
Grass grows, birds fly, sun shines, and brother, I hurt people. What are you, president of his fan club?
No. That would be your mother.
These are but a tiny drop in the pool of amazing voice lines. The fun the voice actors had performing the roles just oozes into the player, giving us the same smiles they had while recording. And they form this hilarious and goofy world of mercs we love. So we got the visuals and we've got the voice lines. Is there anything else that the game uses to add to its identity, class? Oh yes, Timmy. It uses... I'm pretty sure everyone on YouTube knows the main theme. You know, the one that goes bap 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 ba da 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 bam. Like many songs in the soundtrack, this one has a bombastic and which is in tune with the type of music present in the game's time period. But there's a lot of versatility here, especially with the songs linked to the mercs. Take Drunken Pipe Bomb. It fits with the demo man's chaotic attitude as well as his Scottish background, as you can hear bagpipes in the tune.
Oh, they're going to have to glue you back together in hell!
There's also how the Medic's theme portrays this angelic choir in a more sinister way, which starts by descending, emphasizing the Mad Doctor's neurotic personality, before it comes back up into a triumphant blast, along with a pretty snazzy sax solo with it. Can't leave out possibly the most nerve-wracking track of them all. The one that had you thinking that the spy could be in this very room. It could be you. He could be me. He could even be. So yeah, the soundtrack is pretty freaking awesome. Plus the cover art is cool. So why not listen to it? You'd be surprised by the amount of replayability some of these tracks have. All of these factors that I've mentioned have molded the community over what have been almost 2 decades. And it seems nothing can stop TF2 from having such a great fan base with a lot of interaction and replayability. Surely nothing bad can happen, right?
Stoppage, a good job, Mike.
Right after the Great Depression of 2019, I'm not kidding, that's an actual event, TF2 suffered from a heavy influx of bots that would automatically kill players in casual matches, making the game just borderline unplayable. You had to play in private servers just to avoid them, as the casual lobbies were filled with them, making racist remarks in voice chat and just being an overall annoyance. You couldn't play the game. And the game stayed like this for about 2 years because their dev team was basically only comprised of the janitor randomly finagling in the computer after his lunch break. Couple this with the fact that TF2's last major update was back in 2017, and you've got people thinking that the game was on its way to 6 feet under. Fortunately, the community is so passionate that it came to be TF2's saving grace, as we banded together in what was probably the biggest peaceful protest that actually did something. The Save TF2 movement got Valve to actually update the game and remove the bots, and so that's the story of how TF2 got saved by its people. And man, who even are these guys anyway? So as I said before, Valve is a company composed by fans for the fans. So they know we appreciate it when we get more content to dive into. When I was trying to look for content to edit this video with, I found out that on TF2's website, there's lots of official artwork you can download and even the official arrangements for the music used in the game, which is pretty awesome. And remember those TF2 videos you saw on YouTube back then? Well, you can do them too, with the same program they used, Source Filmmaker. Want to create items for the game? Yeah, that's an actual thing. You can create items and they might get into the game. Do you guys want frequent updates? Yeah, I guess I was hoping too much for that, wasn't I? Which other game gives you all of these artwork and things about the game to just go wild and create your own versions of it? But wait, that whole Source Filmmaker thing? Yeah, it's actually kind of a big deal. I'd say that it has given us about half of TF2's timelessness. There's hundreds of different shorts made with the program, from basic memes, full-on action set pieces, to a freaking 2-hour-long psychological horror film. And it's not dog shit. Emesis Blue is what we get when a group of highly talented pros try to create an experience that flips everything we know about TF2 upside down. It uses the respawn mechanic, something we don't usually think about in games, as a flawed technology that just... Oh, okay, I don't even want to spoil too much, but this shit is dark and it deals with some pretty cool concepts. But don't even ask me what the story's about, not just because it's cryptic as hell, but because I really think anyone watching this should watch it, even if you don't play or know much about TF2's lore. It's genuinely one of the most entertaining pieces of avant-garde media that stuck with me for months. The amount of care in everything from the lighting, the camera work, to the countless references makes this avant-garde film the envelope for what an SFM animation can be, and what a movie can be. But enough of that rambling. The point is that the TF2 community are some of the most deranged individuals you'll find on the internet. Memes are made by the dozen. There's hundreds of long-running jokes, from the pooties to the spy crap to the heavy is dead! And you know, it's actually insane that the original voice actors are still active in making jokes and going on whole adventures to create content for the community. It's just that damn fun. The voice chats get insane in the game. There's hundreds of maps, cosmetics, and items being made by the second. And so with all that being said, what makes TF2 the shooter that will never die? Everything.
Good news! We're not dying! We are going to live forever!
Oh, thank God.